Oh, thank God you found this. This is Can We Chat?
This podcast has been made possible by our sponsor, our channel membership. Your subscription, hard at work. Love you guys. What is up? My name is Paul G., Chief Safety Officer for the IDPA, helping you elevate your shooting skills safely and accurately. This channel will help you clarify IDPA rules, shooting techniques, and inform you of the newest gear and what's going on in the shooting community. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Back by popular demands, we have the amazing Fred Johnson. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Wow, the last time we talked was at the Sacramento, right? To the Western.
Yeah, the cold, rainy match.
The cold, rainy match. Yeah, everybody seemed to have loved that interview.
Everybody loved it.
Yeah, so sorry we had to cut that short. I just didn't know how much we were talking about. We were just going off on safety officers. So today we were going to talk about matches and what's essential toward making a great match, right?
Match design.
Match design. So this could be a long conversation as well, don't you?
Or very short.
Or
depending how it's received.
Oh, that's a good point. Good point. So how's things going? So we just had your match last week. Right?
Yes.
And, that was the very first time I've ever seen a visual barrier used properly.
No.
Oh, my God.
I've shot matches where they're using right.
I mean, in the way that, I've never seen it used before. You put a vision barrier at distance, right? So, and it was like so far away that it was completely covering the thread. And then when I went out, and if you're not paying attention, right, and you're just
walk right past it.
Oh yeah, you don't even see it because it's on the other side of the range.
Hence the term surprise target.
You just see it in
because
a
it's
different...
supposed to be surprise.
And boy, was it a surprise! Oh man, yeah, one of them got me.
I bet it did.
Yeah, I was like, oh
you
man.
Step out and did that reload in front of the vision barrier.
So, especially with a bug, right? So 6 shots, you sit there, and I had a hard lean, right? I had to get that target. I wanted to make sure that I didn't hit that non-threat in front of it. So all my attention was drawn toward that, and then all of a sudden,
and you stepped out
because I had such a long distance to travel, and I wanted to get started as soon as possible. And
yeah, it's kind of an unfair trap, but
no, I thought that
especially
was
for bug shooting. I was there, so.
But I sat there and I saw the revolver. I was shooting with the revolver guys, right? And then I was counting, and they were reloading, and it took them, I would have to say, almost 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh, at least.
Right. So I was thinking, would that even actually be a failure to do right type of thing, or?
No, you could, because you got to prove intent. No.
Yeah, and it wasn't intent. Yeah, I stepped out because.
Would I have taken what you're asking is, would I have taken a 3-second penalty to move to the next position while I reloaded my revolver? Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea, because I'm about 5 seconds on a reload with speed loaders. So.
Right, and I think I'm at least 10.
So, I mean, if I have a perfect reload, that's 5 seconds. But
so I cleared up. I went back to classify.
Oh, nice.
So I went back there and cleared that up. And
what were you classifying for bug?
Yeah.
So did you make master?
No.
Oh, come on.
I was. I threw one. Right. So
on purpose.
No. It was. I think it was my first shot. So I saw it. I went, oh man, I'm shooting low. So I had to correct that. So I corrected it, and everything went on from there. But I went 2 down, and the 2 down, bit me for master.
So you're expert.
I'm expert.
Well, that's at least legit.
Yeah, I know.
You were what, marksman before? Sharp marksman?
That was because that I missed that head, right? That head shot. I was like, oh. And the first time I was trying to go at it as fast as I could, and that's not the key to shooting.
Oh, classifier kind of is, though.
Really? Going as fast as you can? Really?
And still not drop a lot of points.
So the second time I've shot it, I actually made sure I got my hits, and I only went 2 down, and sure enough,
still fast.
No, I went to expert. Yeah,
still fast.
Yeah, so I thought that was.
What's your fastest raw on a classifier?
Oh, a PCC.
was not because we're not. That doesn't count. Pieces. We'll talk about that in stage design and matches. But
expert. I noticed that.
Fastest raw.
Oh, I don't.
So I shot it just in ESP once just to see how fast I could shoot a classifier, and I was like 11 and a half seconds total.
Yeah.
But I was down like 12 or something, 11.
Right. So you sit there, you 12 seconds down, right, and you just start just slow down a little bit.
Well, that's what I kind of wanted.
6 seconds.
That's kind of what I wanted to prove is like, if I just go as fast as I can with my 1911-9,
right.
which I can, that's my fastest gun to shoot, and I'm like, okay, 11 and a half seconds, but then you look at the down points and you're like, and that wasn't even missing the head, that was just a death by one.
Absolutely. And that's what
11 ones.
That was my first lesson with that bug. I sat there and went, you're just shooting too damn fast. So you gotta slow down.
Especially because you don't have makeups. That's the big problem with bug.
Especially because I don't have makeups.
Because you don't get makeups. You can't throw a couple fast ones and then go, I'll just make that up. And go, I'm out of ammo. Or I just forced another 3-second reload or whatever. So,
oh man. So what do you think is needed to make a great match?
We're talking about like it's a really simple concept, which is why this could be over in like the next 15 seconds. So it's good stages run by good staff. That's the basic concept.
Okay.
Good stages run by good staff.
Yeah, but if you start looking at the stuff, right?
So when we get off into the weeds, right, and you say, well, okay, what constitutes good stages? I think we can all agree on what constitutes good staff. Know the rules. Don't be a butthead on stuff, and
which we already talked about.
Yes, which we already talked about in the last thing about being SOs.
Right, as nauseum.
But it has come up again in recent sanction matches that I've been to. So,
how do you do that?
Knowing the rules is uncomfortable at times when you're dealing with other people's matches because they have a different perception of the rules, and then you get into these conflicts. So. But it's going to happen. Every match is going to be like that.
Do you think it's because the more complex or complicated the stage is, the more rule?
No. I think it's just people read the rule book
and
they take something out of it verbatim.
Oh yeah.
And then that's their interpretation, and then nothing else is going to sway them.
Black and white.
Black and white. And sometimes in the rule book is not black and white.
Yeah. Well, especially the stage, right? If the stage doesn't match, you sit there. Now you have a conversation. Right. Well, it turns into a little bit more than a conversation.
It can. So getting off into the weeds on what makes a good match, obviously my opinion, but it's based on being a CSO. I'm probably over 430 matches in the last 11 years.
All right.
Local, regional, nationals, worlds.
So you've seen a lot.
Shooting and working. So I get to see a lot of what does work in a match, and I get to see a lot of like horrible failures.
Right.
Like, why did you guys do this?
So you're on both sides.
So I'm on both sides of that. And so obviously, again, my opinion, but there's do's and don'ts to me when you put on a match. Yeah. And we could start with the positive and say the do's. I think most of us, you've shot enough matches to have an opinion on it, but most of us like a stage that has movement and
I love movement.
Is challenging, technically challenging, but not hard.
Right.
So what's the difference? Technically challenging is multiple positions of cover that you have to go to. If you get a choice of how you want to shoot the stage, better still. And then having having it be some sort of fun aspect to the match. Like for me, if there's a car in the stage, it's already a good match, because if they utilize the car properly, it's a good match, because it's something that we don't get to do on a monthly basis at most clubs.
Right. Something that you don't get to practice a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So that aspect of it, that's the positives. Negatives, like the don'ts. It's good to do different things in a match, but don't get like caught up in it. And I see that recently at local levels and at sanction matches, where the MD and the stage designers get caught up in a theme. Like today, we're gonna all do like tight headshots. All the non-threats are giving you nothing but a headshot at 10 yards,
or all seated starts,
or like something, I call it a gimmick stage.
Yeah.
Seated start, fine. nice gimmick stage, good change of pace.
Yeah.
1 in a match is plenty.
Right.
2, 3, 4, 5 in a match, you're doing something wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Same thing with off-body starts. 1 in a match, fine. You know, stow your gear, go, fine. 4 or 5 in a match, what are you thinking? You know, it's like now it's not a shooting competition. It's how fast can I get my gear stowed competition.
How do you think they fall into that?
It's easy because so I'm 4 years on my match as match director. So that's what, 48 matches.
Yeah.
250 stages or whatever that works out to be.
Yeah.
And that. So you get, when you're designing a stage, you get into this groove like, oh, this is kind of cool, I'll do this. And if it was cool for one stage, let's do it again over here for this stage.
Right.
And then you have to kind of temper that and pull that back and look at it and say, no, I got to change this because it's too similar, or I'm repeating myself. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges for match directors and stage designers is try not to be repetitive.
So they have, so a stage is made up of multiple arrays, right? So they have,
Should be.
So like, I would have to say in threes that I noticed, right? So you have...
only if the match director's shooting bug.
Okay.
Then you get a nice bug stage where it's arrays of 3.
Right. So what I noticed is, the way that I interpret it is that just one side of the array is just one problem, right, that they put out.
Correct.
And I think they try to make that problem so difficult or so challenging, and then they just keep on adding stuff to it, and by the time they're done, the whole stage doesn't make sense. They just have hard arrays, like tight turns or bends or leans, and then you have non-threats in front of everything and hard swingers.
So let's back up a second. There are rules in the rule book for setting up stages.
Okay, perfect.
And so you have a guideline that's codified in the rule book, distances, number of targets in the open, things like that. And then there's also a separate guideline that's on the IDPA website for stage design that is not rule based,
right?
But it's what IDPA wants to see. So if you are a match director or stage designer and you could take both of those things and read them, you have a pretty good roadmap of where you should be going. Again, it gets misinterpreted by match directors. I went to I'm not going to say because I'll call out somebody. So I went to a match last year where there was not a single piece of hardcover on the stage.
Right.
And I asked the match director, why do we not have hardcover on the stage? And he said, well, because the AC said we can't use hardcover anymore. It's clearly defined in the rule book that how to use it,
right? How
much of the target can be covered. So obviously it can be used,
right?
But somebody misinterpreted that and saying we can't do hardcover. It's just stuff like that. It just drives you crazy. And you're like, well, that's just not right. So, but then again, I shot Worlds that year with you, and where we like everything was hardcover.
Insanely so.
So a little bit like over the top, right?
Right.
And so it's just kind of keeping it like that was a theme that got away from the match designers, in my opinion. It was like, hey, we're going to do hardcover and headshots and stuff, like fine,
right?
But one stage, fine.
Do you think they just learned that concept recently, and so they?
I think it probably came up, when they did their new rule book.
Okay.
And there's some stuff in there about hardcover. And,
okay, that would make more sense.
But other things too, like, and I call them again gimmick stages. When you have a stage with one round per target, it's a gimmick to allow you to use more non-threats.
Yeah.
Because the rule book states how many non-threats I can use. So if I want to use more non-threats, I gotta put up more targets.
Right.
So now I'm down to single shots. It's a good concept.
Yeah. To
use once in a match, not twice.
That would be monotonous. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It just makes you go.
It wouldn't be fun.
Same thing with the off-body starts. You're just kind of like, okay, one, fine, but
now
I'm doing like 3 or 4 or 5, and you're thinking, what am I doing here? But stowing gear, I mean, you're going to lose your match because you dropped the magazine.
Okay, I see your point. Totally.
Yeah. I just don't understand the concept, but so I think if stage designers would look at the rule book, look at the guideline for stage design, come up with a stage that flows, that has. I'm guilty of putting traps in stages like the vision barrier guy. I'm guilty of that, but it's more of a concept of making you pay attention to what your walkthrough and what's going on in the
Insanely
stage.
so, absolutely.
And then the other aspect is to think about, IDPA is based on tactical shooting, based on self-defense shooting.
Right.
So don't make your stages so unrealistic that it makes no sense. One of those things that I absolutely despise in every match I go to that does it is static stages.
Like standards.
But they're not standards. It's actually a stage, right?
Scenario stage.
A scenario stage.
That there's just-
It's one thing to do a drill required by the rule book and
Right.
matches over tier 3 and up.
Yeah.
It's like I'm setting you at a table and I'm shooting all my targets from the table.
Okay.
That makes no sense.
Right.
Because if you go to any kind of tactical shooting class, the first thing they want you to do when balloon goes up is move.
Yeah.
So now you're going to stick me in a table and tell me to shoot all my targets, or stand up and shoot a series of targets and call it a scenario, and I just roll my eyes.
That doesn't go with the spirit of IDPA.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just roll my eyes. It's like, come on, guys, you got to do better than that. And it's okay to do one.
Right.
Yeah, that's your drill stage. For
Yeah.
me, and I've done 2 regionals. For me, it's the starter stage. That's my drill stage.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be static, and I can get it over with. It meets the requirement, and move on to the scenarios, because that's what people want to shoot.
Right.
I don't think people want to shoot drills.
Not spending all that money to go out
No.
all the way out
And
there.
shoot drills.
Oh yeah, no.
And I've been to
That's
matches where half the stages are static.
I can shoot drills.
Yeah. At practice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So do I want to go to a match and spend the time and the money and all that to shoot half the stages static?
Probably not.
And then the stuff I hear when I mention it to the match director as well. We got a lot of old shooters that don't want to move, and then they should go shoot something else, because we just can't. We can't be dumbing down the sport for a handful of people that don't want to do it anymore. Then
Right.
let them find another sport.
Right.
So again, it's my opinion, but.
So get stage props. Where do you get your stage props? Oh, you got 2 cars on the range, is it right?
We do.
They were donated to you?
No, we actually bought them.
Oh my goodness.
But fortunately, cars that don't run are pretty cheap to buy. So we have a couple cars, and we do use a car on our match every month.
Yeah.
So, and it's well received. We hope we don't lose that with the management change in our range, but
Oh yeah.
it's possible.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Darr kind of redecorating one of them.
Well, everybody signs it when they shoot it.
See that?
Yeah, everybody takes a Sharpie and signs it when
That
they
is
shoot
beautiful.
it, because it does get you a DQ at our match. So,
Well, yeah, you shouldn't be shooting stuff like that.
well, it's steel, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And it's right in front of you, and so if you shoot it, it's kind of like a bad thing.
That'll be bad.
We just want to discourage that. But
So you're going to get stages. What's the best way of trying to design a match? You just put it all on a master sheet in front of you and say, well, this is where I'm going to be doing this type of stuff all the way across, or how do you
well, usually you're concerned with match flow.
like variety? How
Well, you're
how do
concerned
you-
with match flow more.
Oh, okay.
Like, at my local match, all of our stages are 16 to 18 rounds,
right?
so I don't have to worry so much about match flow, because the stages all are going to be pretty much shot at about the same time.
Okay.
It's when you want to stick in a 12-round stage versus an 8, and you got an 18-round stage behind it, maybe an 18-round stage in front of it, and then you got a 12-round stage in the middle. That's going to be over with, and then you're on to the next stage.
So you
and
just
there's a
don't want to
and
back
there's a
up.
backup.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that makes.
Part of that is how many reactives you use, how good your SOs are at getting keeping the squad out taping and resetting.
Right.
And in bigger matches, it's more important because you've got time constraints that are with awards and all that have to come afterwards. So you got to make sure you get all your stuff done in time, which we had to fail on my last regional with that, but it happens. So.
So base sizes. Do you think base sizes come
Bigger
in-
is better.
Of course,
Like
it
everything
is.
in life.
Of course it is.
Bigger is better. Why? Because it gives you options.
Oh, a lot more options.
You can run 2 small stages in a big bay.
Right.
You can run longer shots, wider shots.
Yeah.
When you're stuck in a little narrow bay, you have to be way more creative to do a good stage.
Oh yeah, narrow stage. But I mean, it's not a bad thing. You're
No,
talking about more of a
vertical
inside of a house, right? Hallways and stuff like that, right?
I call them vertical stages.
Vertical stages,
either
okay.
retreating or advancing, and take things as you come on either side. It's just harder to do, and at Pyru we have really big, nice bays, so we could do all kinds of stuff.
And which you do, yeah. How come you don't have like 7 or 8 of them? They won't allow you to have 7 or 8.
We could. We have access to a bay in front of ours,
Yeah.
and then a bay behind us, and actually 2 bays behind us,
Right.
which we've utilized in the regionals.
I noticed one thing that I noticed at Pyru is your setup. Your setup was insane. It's well ran, but is it because you only use 6 stages, or? I mean, it's extremely efficient.
It would take, I don't know, we try and get it down to where we can do the bays in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is having most of the stuff on site, on the bays.
Right.
And then when we have to move stuff, usually throw it in my truck and move it down to another bay. And then I try and keep all the reactives and things close to what we call Bay 5, where our stuff is stored, so that we're not moving steel and all this stuff all the way down to like Bay 1 and back again. So
do you like stages with just all paper, or you want a balance of paper, steel, props?
I should use
stuff?
more steel, because I struggle with it at times. When I went to Texas, I struggled on steel for whatever reason, but so I should put more steel in for nothing else for me.
Right.
But
it's hard to move out there, and
it's a little more work, and again, to me, the steel has to make sense. Just throwing steel on the stage doesn't make sense. But
I think that's
hard to design a stage and say, oh, the steel makes sense. So now you're just shooting steel for the fun of shooting steel, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But again, moderation. Don't do it on every bay. Stay within the IDPA headquarters guidelines of how to use steel, and then there's rules on how many pieces of steel and all that. But
so matches, how do you figure out what's the fair price to charge for a match?
it depends if you match for profit, or which our match is not.
I don't think any of them are.
No, I mean, there are people that make money on their matches, but
Can you?
yeah, I think so. If you have free range time or cheap range time,
Oh, who does that these days?
if you own the range, so that's the thing.
I think most of the owners nowadays are getting a little.
So, we're basically looking at what we have to pay for range time, and then what we have to pay to run the match, which is, my SOs don't pay. My setup crew, I think, gets 50% discount, and then targets tape my gas to drive there.
Which is a lot of gas.
For me, it's a lot of gas, but because I'm almost 2 hours from the range, so which is my dedication to the sport, that I would drive 2 hours to set up a match and make no money on it.
Your labor of love. Oh my
It is.
gosh.
It's a labor of love.
I appreciate you doing that though.
I think most of our shooters do.
Oh, they do.
I think they enjoy the match. I think if you work at it, think about what the shooters want to shoot, not what you want to set up. Think about what the shooters want to shoot, and that should drive your stage design.
How did you figure that out? Just from all of the experience that you've had?
Shoot a lot of matches, and you shoot good matches, and you go, I love that. I'd like to do that one again. And then you shoot bad matches, and you say, I never want to see that stage again. So,
Okay.
I mean, as an example, on the Nevada State match last year, Chad sent me the stages because it was their first regional. So
I
sent me the
remember it
stages
was
and
a
said, hey,
conversation. Sure.
Could you look at the stages for me? And
Yeah.
I said, sure, I'll go over them. And now I'm the SC, so that would be my job here.
Yeah.
If I was somebody who was putting on a regional,
Right.
is to review the stages. And he sent me, I think, 12 stages, and he was going to use 8. And there was 4 stages. I've seen these stages everywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, take those 4,
Yeah.
throw them away. you never want to see those in a match.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, I've seen him before. I go, that's why you never want to put him in your match. I don't want to use something in my match where somebody goes, oh, I saw this in Texas, or I saw this in Colorado.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, right.
I want my stages to be more unique. Now, I steal stages all the time, but I adapt them for what we have to set up within our base space and all that. But you should never be repeating, especially I think what I think are poor stages.
Yeah.
So like 3 of the stages you gave me were static. I go, no, don't. It's your first IDPA match. Make a mark. You know, make it memorable.
Right.
Don't put 3 of your 8 static stages. That's not going to be memorable.
So memorable, you talking about something that will, last.
It makes you want to come back.
And not memorable would be something that you hate.
That I passed and I don't want to ever come back to.
So like more of like a standards,
or just a
30-yard standard.
Well, we used to have. I'm okay with 30. I've shot that when we had 40 yards as a standard. I'd shot it with my bug before. It's not a huge impediment, but
no,
it's boring. So
right.
I mean, I once heard a match director say, if it was up to me, I'd run all my stages as drills. And I just kind of looked at him and went, then you would have no shooters.
Yeah.
At some point, they would all just start dropping off.
Well, Texas did that that one time.
Did they?
Yeah. So they had I think 3 blinders, and then you had the 15, 20, and 30-yard targets on the sides, right? And you had to shoot this side and shoot that side, run to the other side and shoot this side and that side, and as you went through it. And I'm like,
was that a standard? They do it as a drill?
Well, it was you were moving. Yeah, it was a stage, and I just sat there and went, oh my God, this is crazy.
But I'm okay with that. That would put that in the realm of challenging, but
that was definitely challenging. Yeah.
But it's just standing and shooting, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40.
You just don't like standing there.
It's challenging, but it's like boring. I mean, it's not why I went to the match. And again, it may just be me, but I just look at the stages should be dynamic.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be tactically minded. Should be dynamic. There should be movement.
Right.
No one believes they're engaging in a firefight with 9 guys.
Right.
But more likely 1 guy in 9 different places.
So you like to use real tight turns where you actually need to make sure that you're conscious of your muzzle when you're either reloading or moving.
I don't like to, but I mean, sometimes it just gets set up that way.
Oh, okay.
It's not my intent.
Oh. I'm
not trying to get somebody DQ'd. As you know me, I don't do that. They get a generous muzzle safe point. If I set it up and go, that kind of sucks.
Right.
So then I put the muzzle safe point out there.
But I noticed that every time I shoot pyro, there would be 1 or 2 stages that, listen, you need to really pay attention to where your muzzle is.
Yeah, and we do uprange. I like to do uprange stages that make sense.
So you're not afraid to get stages like that?
I just tell the SOs, coach your guys up, moving uprange.
And John Joy is very good at that.
Yes, he is. All my guys are good.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have all those guys working on my match. So.
Except Bill.
No, Bill, first of all, doesn't work my match very often, but when he does a good job.
Yes, he does.
But he usually just comes to shoot.
Because it's a far drive.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, I would be more involved. It's just a long drive.
It's too long for me.
Well, you're extra 40 minutes past that, right? So,
yeah. Like I said,
so your favorite stage? What would be your favorite stage setup?
My favorite stages would be shot from a car.
Coming out of a car. And it's funny. Every time I see you, especially out of town, you're at a car stage.
Really?
Georgia. Yeah.
It just happened to be
Florida.
filmed that way because I don't post. I don't post stuff on.
No. What? So that when
somebody see you, I'm in somebody's video.
No, I got up and I went out and I traveled the United States to as many. I was trying to get points for nationals, and I saw
we all when we were going
I
to
saw you
nationals?
everywhere.
I am everywhere.
I was like, I was impressed. How many? I'm like, oh my God, Fred's here again.
I show up and people go, "Didn't I see you?" And I go, "Yeah, I get out." But I started doing that because of nationals. We get maybe 2 matches in California a year sanctioned.
Yeah.
You're trying to get 10 to 12 points, which is what you need generally.
Yeah.
You aren't getting it unless you go somewhere.
No.
So
You
I started
have to go.
traveling and looking for good matches.
Yeah.
that I wanted to go back to.
So we had that conversation. You were saying, oh yeah, this one like space.
I haven't been to Space Coast.
You were saying that they had some great stages,
But they have some
Florida,
good stuff.
Georgia. So I said, I want to see some of these stages. I want to experience what you experience, right? And it's funny because every time I saw you, you were majority of those things. You were at a car.
One of those had a car stage. And then at Worlds, they gave me a car stage to run. It was awesome.
Exactly.
It's great.
That was my first time. I was nervous as hell. I'm like, oh, Fred, what about?
So yeah, I like a well-designed car stage is fun, always fun. And then stages don't have to have reactives to be good. It should enhance the stage, not be the stage. Like there was one in Texas where the movers were the stage.
Oh yeah.
There's like 5 movers or something. Again, probably overdone, but it's not required. And I think my match last month was kind of an attempt for me to do a match without reactives.
Yeah.
So I only had one.
Right.
And I thought the stages turned out pretty good, at least from the feedback from everybody. So I don't think it's required that you have reactives, but it can enhance a stage. It might be a little bit boring. You put a reactive in it, it changes it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to do a static stage, which I've had this at Arizona, a couple other places, you really want to do the static stage, put a reactive in it. At least that makes it interesting.
That makes sense.
Especially if you can have an option of how you want to shoot the reactive. So now you've taken a pretty boring stage,
Yeah.
and made it a little bit more of a challenge. But then the reactives should be not easy, but they should be doable.
Right.
There were a couple matches I've been to, the reactives were 100% not doable. Where not a single person on our squad attempted to shoot the reactive.
Yeah.
So that to me is a match fail, because you can design stages for novices or you can design stages for masters, but if you design it for novices, the masters are gonna be bored.
Right.
And if you design it for masters, the novices are gonna be like, oh, why did I spend my money? I can't shoot any of the targets.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in the middle where I'm designing for a sharpshooter, like the high sharpshooter. That's my stage design.
That's your minimum.
That's my goal is
Okay.
is if I design it for that the sharpshooter can accomplish it, the novice guys will have to pedal a little bit faster to keep up, and the master guys won't be bored.
So you go by their classification and you don't go by their gun,
No,
because there's 8 guns out there. So
I know, but you shoot what the match director shoots. And then when you have a stage, you'll understand. Oh, I should have shot my bug, or I should have shot my CDP when I used to shoot CDP.
And you know, it was just by accident. I didn't start shooting bug because you were shooting bug. But
I thought I inspired you.
no, I needed your coaching is what I needed. You didn't inspire me.
I thought you just wanted a challenge.
But Scott told me, Seth, he goes, no. You look at the match director and whatever's on his hip, that's what you're going to be shooting. And I sat there and went, I've never even thought about that.
I've been to matches like that. Where,
Really?
Oh yeah, like the match director's left-handed.
Yeah.
The match has a strong left-hand
Right.
presence, right? If the match director's shooting CDP,
Yeah.
you'll see a strong CDP preference.
I was oblivious to that.
Now I don't do my matches that way, but I just no, I don't. I mean, I'll look at a stage and say this, this works for the roller guy. This works for the, and there may be a stage that doesn't work for the 6-shot guy.
Yeah.
But I can't make them all bug stages, right?
No.
It's just a matter of designing it so that everybody can shoot it and have a good time shooting it. And
So like a medium or a upper sharpshooter, you were saying, right? So
that's your
goal.
My goal is that can the sharpshooter get 1 or 2 down on this? Then the master can go. Wow. The master can go 0 down, and the novice may go down 6 or 8. And he's just gonna have to pedal.
That
faster.
makes more sense. Absolutely.
So versus designing it for the novice guy, where the novice guy can go 0 down, the master shooter, expert shooter is bored out of his mind.
Yeah.
Because you're like, where's my challenge?
Right. Most of, especially on the squad, we have a lot of various, right, across the spectrum, And you can see it in their faces, right? The expert guys are like, oh man, so this is either a fast stage, or I got to really pay attention to this one, right? And these guys are like seasoned guys, right? So, and that happens a lot at your matches. And the new guys, they just sit there like, okay.
They just pedal faster. You can see it. Yeah, they're like, man, I gotta get on my bike. Well, my squad has always got like, they're probably mostly all the high end guys, are the experts and master shooters.
Because they learn from you.
No, I think it's just they got better shooters and they like shooting with me as an SO. But I'm learning more from them now. Like Dean Bell, I learned watching him run stages.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I had 3 students. We do an after match class.
Yeah.
At my match, so that guys that mess up a match, because when I started shooting, if you messed up your match, you had to come back the next match and figure it out.
And that's
and without
sometimes that doesn't.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we started running an after match class, which is just an hour long, and we leave up one stage and we run I take 4 shooters and max, and we run the stage, break it down.
Yeah.
This is how you do your walkthrough. Whatever your round count is, this is where I would reload. This is where I would dump here, or I would tack there, or whatever, and we do that, and it's well received. But I also use it for people that want to do as an intro to IDPA.
Okay.
So they want to come and shoot, but they're a little bit scared of being out there with a bunch of other people, and
right.
So then they'll come to the post-match class, and it becomes a pre-match class,
a little more one-on-one type of
like
thing.
IDPA light or IDPA
That's
easy.
Genius. Absolutely.
So we had 3 guys that came last week, and they came early enough to watch us shoot about half the match. And then when I took them to the class, they were like, man, I was watching you guys run those stages. That's impressive shooting. I'm like, well, I think everybody on that squad is a master or expert at one division.
Your squad would, yeah. Absolutely.
So it's a good squad to watch what we're going to do here, don't do that.
Oh, no. You got to get the basics,
We're
right?
going to go a little bit slower. You're going to worry more about getting your hits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
you start moving that fast and things start to happen really fast too, right? So
that's where mistakes happen.
So you do this before the match, right?
No, it's an aftermatch.
Okay.
So, but they can use that class as a intro to IDPA.
So they run it, they take a look at the match, they come back, they join the class, and then they're like, now they understand why you did what you did.
Plus, when they show up for the next match, and it doesn't feel like it's all new.
Right. So how do you just choose a random stage, or do you have a specific stage?
I usually will pick one that has the most movement,
or
because that's where, as we discussed before in the SO portion, was that probably 90% of all DQs are 180 breaks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I like to pick a stage where we're going to do the stuff that I have to tell you to watch that corner, or watch your reload on this one. So to get them in the idea that muzzle's got to stay downrange.
That's genius.
So
wow.
The other stuff,
it's just what it is.
It is what it is. You shoot in the dirt in front of me, I can't help you. Shoot over the berm, I can't help you. So.
And it happens. Why is that?
A lot of it's nerves.
Yeah.
Some guys just have bad technique, coming out of the holster.
Yeah.
I've seen my share of those, like in the ground right in front, and you're like, ooh, that wasn't even close to the target. Had a shooter ask me the other day, showed me a video, goes, would this be a DQ if you were running me? And I went, the bullet doesn't even go halfway to the target, man. I think I'd have to give you the DQ.
Right. What about going through a wall or something, but at a target?
Well, at my match, I don't care.
Okay.
Just don't shoot the car, because it's dangerous to shoot the car.
Don't shoot the car. You have no idea where that's going to go.
No, and I just don't want to have that. I mean, it has happened, but
yeah.
I just don't want to make it like a normal thing where, hey, go ahead and shoot the car.
I'm impressed that you still have the windows.
I know.
That is impressive.
We try not to shoot the glass.
Oh, man. It's like the last match, you come through shooting through the car, right? And that glass is right there. You're like, don't shoot that glass.
And all it is to it just puts it in the shooter's head that he's got to be more focused.
You like doing that?
I do, because it's tactical shooting. You got to be able to solve a problem,
right,
and not lose your mind and stay focused. And don't shoot stuff you're not supposed to. And
You know the most impressive thing was that turner. One click turner.
oh,
with a non-threat.
A simple reactive.
That got away from me so fast.
That
It wasn't funny.
That wasn't that far.
Oh man, I went and turned and I went, oh, got that non-threat. I'm like, where did that come from? That worked out pretty good. I would love to practice on something like that all the time. But something that just went whoop.
Yeah, the 1.5 seconds.
Yeah. I would try to double tap with my bug gun, right? And yeah, my second shot, sure enough, boom, right in the middle of the non-threat.
Well, you had to double tap because you only got to see it once. That was by design.
Or run around the corner, which I can't because I'll be out, right? I would have to do a separate reload just to come around to make that up, and that would have been. It would have been better for me just to miss.
Because you would have to go all the way back around.
Yeah.
That would be more than 5 seconds.
That is genius. What makes you think of stuff like that?
Evil match directors.
Oh yeah.
But you notice that the non-threat was reasonable.
It was fair.
I didn't cover half the down zero.
Right.
On a 1.5 second presentation.
I would have to say it was fair.
I gave almost the entire 0 down.
Right.
It was just more there so you would look at it.
Right.
And then shoot it.
But it was yeah. And that's what I did. I looked at it and I shot at it.
If you look at the non-threat, you're gonna shoot it.
And I definitely watched myself hit it, right? But a moving non-threat was something that I don't see very
Seriously,
often.
but you've seen it.
I've seen it, but I just don't see it often enough, right? Where it's.
I saw a great one in New Mexico at the Scorcher, and I only used it once, and I realized it was kind of unfair. But it was a threat target with a non-threat on a drop turn in front of it.
Oh man!
For double presentation,
right? So
from your position, you would get this twice with a non-threat, and you had to squeak that shot.
Yeah, but
it was ugly. It was ugly. I did it one time, and I went, "No, it's ugly. I can't do that again."
That's a little above sharpshooter.
It was one of those where. Yeah, it was a hero or zero thing on that one, but
oh man, well,
and some of the stuff that we used to do all the time now headquarters frowns upon, which upon reflection after hundreds of matches, I have to agree, like putting non-threats in front of steel or what we used to do is put them behind the steel.
Okay,
it's just ugly.
Right, so you miss,
especially once they went to the rules where every non-threat counts.
Yeah,
I watched guys put 5 rounds in a non-threat trying to hit a piece of steel. And that's just like, that's just not good.
Why do you think that happens with steel? It just seems that, I mean, you can hit paper any time of the day, right?
I see it all the time. I've had it happen to myself. I think people get psyched out because they have just that one aiming point, which you still have one aiming point on the paper target, same size,
right?
8 inch plate, 10 inch plate, and they just go fast. When I miss, it's because I'm going fast.
Yes.
I get the front sight on a bang, miss. Oh crap! It looks so good when I press the trigger, and then it's not. It's gone. So it happens.
So you don't like non-threats in front of steel, then?
Neither does headquarters. So.
Oh really?
So I'll abide by that.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's your kryptonite.
I'll abide by that.
Well, thank you very much for coming. A very special shout out to our subscribers that hit the super thanks button. We really appreciate it. Your support is busy at work. So thank you again for your support. Please consider being a part of our shooting community, building relationships around safe gun practice and IDPA competition. My name is Paul G, and this is
Fred Johnson.
Please be safe, and we shall see you on the range.
Like, share, subscribe.